Okay, let's unpack this. We are about to dive into a country that truly feels less like a single place and more like an entire civilization,
Yeah.
condensed into one very energetic, immensely beautiful, and sometimes chaotic experience.
Indeed. We're focused today on Turkey, a nation famously described as a bridge. And, that moniker is far too simple.
Right.
It's not just a land bridge between Europe and Asia. It's a cultural bridge, a historical bridge, connecting the ancient world of, say, Byzantium and the Ottomans with the hypermodern present.
It's a place where history isn't just something you see in museums.
No, it's not. It actively dictates the rhythm of daily life.
It's definitely captured the global imagination, and for good reason. I mean,
Yep.
you see those incredible images that just flood your travel feeds.
Oh, yeah.
The staggering sight of hundreds of hot air balloons rising silently over Cappadocia, or the architectural majesty of the Hagia Sophia and the Blue Mosque facing off in Istanbul. The visual hype is, I think, 100% justified.
But the critical question for you, the learner, is whether the practical reality can possibly match that postcard fantasy. Our mission is to move beyond that idealization and figure out the logistical truth of traveling there.
That's right. Is it an absolute logistical headache for a first-timer? Is Istanbul now just, ridiculously overcrowded? Are we talking about a massive tourist trap, or is this truly the profound, affordable, and vibrant cultural journey it promises to be?
We need to know the price of admission, literally and figuratively. So we've synthesized a comprehensive plan, extracting all the essential knowledge needed to answer that. We'll be focusing primarily on that powerhouse itinerary: Istanbul, Cappadocia, and then the turquoise coast around Antalya.
And we're going to break down not just the cultural experiences, but also the costs, the logistics, and the crucial caveats to ensure your trip is not just possible, but truly worthwhile.
We're aiming to give you the cheat code for a successful Turkish adventure.
All right, let's start with the nuts and bolts getting there and getting around. For most international travelers, Istanbul is the unavoidable gateway city. And you really need to be prepared for the scale.
You certainly do. Istanbul's new airport, coded IST, is a modern marvel, but it is gargantuan.
I've heard this, like wear comfortable shoes, massive.
Exactly. Wear comfortable shoes and check your gate distance immediately. Massive. It functions as a super hub, primarily for Turkish Airlines, so you can get direct flights from virtually everywhere. The systems are efficient, but you must account for those long walking distances.
And long connection time.
Absolutely.
But even before you land, there's a critical piece of pre-travel homework.
Don't
Visa.
forget.
For
Yeah.
citizens of many countries, the US, Canada, Australia, a lot of Europe, the process is incredibly streamlined. It's an e-visa system.
Takes about 10 minutes online. Super simple.
And this is where we hit our first crucial warning.
Very critical one.
The cost for these nationalities is currently around 50 to 60 US dollars. However, you must, and I cannot stress this enough, use the official Turkish government website.
It has to have the .gov.tr domain. The sources are filled with examples of third-party websites that look official, but they're just designed to overcharge you.
They add service fees, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes inflating the price by $100 or more.
Exactly. It's a simple financial trap, but it's so easily avoided if you just check that URL carefully.
Okay, so visa secured, you've landed, you've made the trek through the huge airport. Now you face the immense distances within Turkey itself. This is not a small country.
Not at all. It's massive. So your internal travel strategy is key.
And our sources strongly indicate that for this itinerary, Istanbul Cappadocia, the coast, the single most valuable logistical hack is domestic flights.
Absolutely. When time is your priority, domestic flights are king. You've got carriers like Turkish Airlines and the low-cost carrier Pegasus running incredibly frequent routes between all the major points.
So Istanbul, Izmir, Antalya, and the two airports for Cappadocia.
Right, Kayseri or Nevşehir.
And the cost is, it's shocking compared to Western domestic flights. We're seeing average one-way fares from, what, $30 to $70?
If you book a bit in advance, yeah, $30 to $70 is about right. It means you can skip a punching 10-hour bus journey that might cost you $25 and instead take a 1-hour flight for maybe $50.
It completely changes the pace of the trip. You're maximizing your time actually exploring, not just sitting on a bus.
That said, we have to provide the nuance. While flights offer efficiency, the Turkish luxury bus system should not be ignored.
Oh, I'm glad you brought this up.
Especially for travelers who are more budget conscious or just have more time. I will say, don't picture a Greyhound bus.
No, not at all. Think of it more like a European high-speed train but on wheels.
That's a great way to put it. We're talking about companies like Metro Tourism or Camille Coast. These are luxury coaches with fully reclining, wide seats, personal entertainment screens.
And attendants who provide constant service.
Yes, hot tea, cold drinks, snacks, it's all included in your ticket price. A long-haul ticket, say from Istanbul to Antalya, might run you just $20 to $30.
It's ridiculously cheap. And you get to see the Anatolian countryside, which you completely miss when you fly over it.
And if you choose an overnight bus, you also save the cost of a hotel room for that night. So it's a really smart play for budget travelers.
That's the perfect synthesis then. Prioritize flights for efficiency, but embrace the luxury bus for scenic comfort and extreme budget travel.
Now let's zoom in on Istanbul itself. It is a dense, massive, and highly congested city. Moving through it effectively is essential.
You have to master its public transit system, which is this magnificent, chaotic dance of trams, metros, and ferries.
And to tame that chaos, you need one non-negotiable item, the Istanbul card.
The essential tool. It's a single rechargeable card that works on everything. It just simplifies the whole process.
You can get it from the brightly colored vending machines at any major transport hub, like the airport or metro stations. There's a small deposit, currently around 20 Turkish lira, to buy the card. Then you just load it up with cash.
And it gives you discounted fares, which makes it way cheaper than buying single-use tokens every time.
Infinitely cheaper.
And speaking of transport, we have to highlight the required experience. The ferry across the Bosphorus.
This is so critical. Many travelers see it as just transportation, but it is, in fact, the most affordable, most spectacular sightseeing tour you can take.
Right. For the price of a standard public transit fare. We're talking a fraction of a dollar you get on the government ferry.
And the trip from, say, Eminu on the European side, across to Cappadocia on the Asian side, it gives you a sense of the sheer scale of Istanbul that you just cannot grasp from land.
You see the ancient fortresses, the massive Dolmabahce Palace, and the distinct shorelines of two continents gliding past. You have to do this at least once.
Ideally at sunset, it's magical.
So we've arrived. We know how to get around. Now let's figure out the home base strategy, because where you stay completely dictates the rhythm of your day. In Istanbul, you face that classic trade-off: historical convenience versus modern local energy.
And most first-time travelers, understandably, gravitate immediately toward Sultanahmet. It's the historical core.
It's practical. You're literally steps away from the Blue Mosque, Hagia Sophia, Topkapi Palace. The convenience factor is incredibly high.
But, and this is the necessary critique we've pulled from traveler experiences, that convenience comes at a pretty significant cost to the overall vibe.
Sultanahmet is almost exclusively dedicated to tourism.
Precisely. So once the main sites close down around 6 or 7 p.m., the area can feel quite sanitized, almost sterile.
The restaurants that stay open are often overpriced, serving these mass-produced tourist menus.
And the area just lacks that genuine, vibrant, lived-in local pulse that makes Istanbul so unique. It's great for sightseeing during the day, but not for immersion in the evening.
Which is why our synthesized recommendation shifts slightly.
Yeah.
You just go across the Golden Horn to the Karaköy and Galata districts.
This is where the life is, especially after dark.
Karaköy and Galata are younger, trendier. They have this beautiful blends of historic architecture and cutting-edge creativity.
You're talking about incredible art galleries, unique independent shops, and a cafe culture that is second to none. Plus, these districts have the best rooftop bars.
Oh, with those killer sunset views looking back over the Golden Horn toward the old city skyline. You're positioned right in the heart of modern Istanbul's nightlife.
The trade-off is this. You might have a slightly longer commute, maybe a 15-minute tram ride to get to the historical sites, but you return every evening to a neighborhood where people actually live and socialize.
It's where the city breathes. And in terms of cost, a mid-range quality hotel in either district will likely run you between, what, $80 and $150 a night?
Oh, a pretty good range, yeah. 80 to 150 US.
Okay, so moving inland to Cappadocia. The question of where to stay here has, according to all traveler sources, only one correct answer.
It's a non-negotiable experience.
It has to be a cave hotel.
Absolutely. These hotels are literally carved into those famous fairy chimney rock formations. They use the natural insulation of the stone, so they're cool in the summer and relatively warm in the winter.
Waking up in what feels like an ancient, beautifully decorated cave is just It's an intrinsic part of the whole Cappadocia visit.
But the crucial warning is that the range and quality is massive. You have to research carefully.
Right. Some of the budget options can feel a bit damp, poorly ventilated, pretty rugged.
And others are true five-star luxury experiences
Hmm.
with high-end spas, modern plumbing, and crucial amenities like heated bathroom floors, which are glorious when you wake up at 4 a.m. for that balloon ride.
I can imagine. And here's the key booking advice. These hotels, especially the ones with terraces positioned to view the balloons, they book up months in advance.
6 months or more, easily, especially during the shoulder seasons of spring and fall. Expect a mid-range, quality cave hotel with a good view to cost you between $120 and $250 a night. Book early.
Book early or risk disappointment.
Get it.
Finally, let's look at the third pillar, the turquoise coast around Antalya. Here you face a more standard choice.
Yeah, the classic coastal decision, huge, all-inclusive resort outside the city, or a boutique option with local character.
Our sources overwhelmingly recommend skipping the massive resorts unless your only goal is just to lie by a pool.
The much richer experience is finding a charming boutique hotel nestled within the walls of Antalya's old town, Kalesi.
Kalesi is this magnificent maze of cobblestone streets filled with beautifully preserved Ottoman-era houses, many of them converted into guest houses.
You've got these beautiful little courtyards, quiet cafes, and you're right by the marina and Hadrian's Gate. It offers so much more character than a sprawling modern resort.
And it makes for a much better base for day trips to all the nearby historical sites.
Now that we've sorted out logistics and sleep, let's talk about the fuel for the trip. The food. This is not a secondary concern. Turkish cuisine is a central pillar of the entire cultural experience.
Okay, let's start with the necessary cultural warning then. If you, as a traveler, only go out for doner kebabs, you've genuinely missed out.
You have failed the assignment. Turkish food is Mediterranean, it's Central Asian, it's Ottoman, all rolled into one vibrant, complex culinary scene.
So a great entry point is embracing maize culture.
Absolutely. Meze just means small plates or appetizers, but in Turkey, they often are the entire meal. This has deep roots in Ottoman dining and the whole Levantine tradition of social sharing.
It's a social style of dining. You don't just order one plate for yourself, you order 10 small, vibrant plates for the table, and you share everything slowly.
Often accompanied by raki. And you need to seek out dishes beyond the generic hummus. Look for mahamara, a spicy dip made from walnuts and red pepper paste.
Or haydari, which is that thick, strained yogurt with garlic and herbs.
Or gavarda salad, a finely chopped mix of tomato, cucumber, walnut, and that amazing pomegranate molasses. The emphasis is all on freshness, acidity, and vibrant texture.
Okay, so if meze is the defining feature of dinner,
Yeah.
then kahvaltı, the Turkish breakfast, is the non-negotiable event of the morning.
It is not a quick dish. It is a ritual that can easily last 2 or 3 hours.
It's an amazing spectacle. The table is just covered with little plates.
It's not a bowl of cereal. You're presented with multiple varieties of cheese, everything from salty white cheese to soft, creamy ones, every type of local olive imaginable, incredibly dense local honey.
And kaymak. We have to explain kaymak.
Oh, it must be experienced. It's this rich, decadent, clotted cream, almost like a solid form of the best cream you've ever had, and it's often served drizzled with honey.
Alongside all of this, you have fresh sliced tomatoes and cucumbers, eggs, often with sakak, that dried spicy sausage, and an array of jams and breads.
And through this entire, slow, magnificent feast, you are drinking endless little tulip glasses of say, the strong black tea. The ritual of sitting and talking is as important as the food itself.
But let's get back to the streets of Istanbul for a moment. If you're just grabbing a quick bite, you have to hit the street food essentials. First up, the simit.
The simit is everywhere. It's a circular bread ring completely encrusted in sesame seeds, often baked right on the street. It's crisp on the outside, chewy inside. The ultimate snack.
And it costs, what, 50 cents? $1?
Something like that. Then, near the Gullet Bridge, you have the famous balık ekmek, the simple grilled fish sandwich.
The experience is as good as the food. The fish is grilled right on these brightly decorated boats moored at the docks.
Served fresh off the grill on crusty bread with maybe just a bit of onion and a squeeze of lemon. It is simple, authentic, and truly iconic Istanbul.
Moving to drinks and rituals, we have to mention Turkish coffee, or kahve.
It's intensely strong, finely ground, and brewed in a small copper pot called a şevve. It's served in a tiny cup, and you specify your sugar level beforehand because you don't add it later.
Right. And the focus is less on the massive caffeine hit and more on the ritual of sipping it slowly.
And making sure you stop before you drink the thick sediment at the bottom. Though some people can read your fortune from that sediment, which is a whole other tradition.
I've heard that. But the true national spirit, the one that often accompanies those maize dinners, is Rocco.
This is the anise-flavored potent spirit. It's clear until you add water, at which point it famously turns that milky white color.
It's potent, hence the nickname lion's milk.
It is. It's enjoyed slowly, with ice and water, and it's meant to facilitate long, slow conversation. The best place to drink it is a meyhane, the traditional Turkish tavern, where the social atmosphere and the maize are just as vital as the drink itself.
A word of warning.
Yeah.
Treat the lion's milk with respect.
It can creep up on you fast.
Food and sleep sorted. It's time for the spectacular, the ancient wonders and modern thrills that define this journey. We start back in Istanbul with the titans of architecture.
You start right in Sultanahmet Square with Hagia Sophia and the Blue Mosque. The sheer sense of history and scale facing each other across that square is just staggering.
It's the ultimate photo op. But we need to discuss a critical development regarding Hagia Sophia. For nearly 90 years, it operated as a museum.
Right, but recently its status shifted back to a functioning mosque, and that shift has profound cultural and practical implications for visitors.
When it was a museum, access was open. Now, as a working mosque, you have to adhere strictly to prayer times.
Which means there may be restricted access to certain areas during those periods, so you need to plan your visit around them.
The practical tip remains the same for both sites, though. Go very early, right when they open, or late in the afternoon to avoid the intense midday crowds, and of course, the modesty requirement.
Women must cover their hair and shoulders. Men should wear long trousers. They have items to borrow if you forget.
After you've taken in the architecture, you have to prepare your senses for the labyrinthine commercial centers, the Grand Bazaar and the Spice Bazaar.
My core advice for the Grand Bazaar is simple. Do not go in with a rigid shopping list. Just go in to get lost and absorb the sheer intensity.
It is a full sensory experience, a total maze of jewelry, carpets, leather goods, souvenirs, 61 covered streets. It's overwhelming.
The Spice Bazaar, or Mrs. Sharshin, is smaller, but maybe even more atmospheric. It focuses on food, mountains of spices, Turkish delight, nuts, and teas.
The air in there is just. It's heavy and fragrant with saffron and cinnamon. It's a must for anyone who loves to cook.
And this is where you engage with the culture of commerce. Bargaining is expected, especially in the Grand Bazaar.
Our sources suggest a good rule of thumb is to mentally aim for about a 30% reduction from the initial asking price. Start low, maybe 50%, and meet somewhere in the middle.
The key is to be polite, have fun with it, treat it like a friendly game, not a confrontation.
When the chaos of the bazaars becomes overwhelming, the city offers the perfect antidote: getting out on the water.
A full Bosphorus cruise, especially around sunset, is an absolute non-negotiable activity. It's truly magical.
It shows you the history and the scope of the city in a way that walking just can't.
From the water, you see this juxtaposition of eras. The medieval Rumeli fortress, stunning Ottoman palaces like Dolmabahce, and then right next door, these massive modern mansions, all lining the strait that physically separates two continents.
It puts the city's vastness and its unique role in world history into sharp perspective.
Okay, let's move to central Turkey, to the otherworldly landscape of Cappadocia. For most visitors, the main event is the hot air balloons.
And this is rare in travel, but they truly, genuinely exceed the already impossible pictures.
They are magnificent. The ritual starts before dawn. You're bundled up in the cold, watching hundreds of enormous, colorful balloons inflate against the dark sky with these bursts of fire.
Then they all just lift off silently, all at once, into the rising morning light.
It is an experience of pure collective awe. The landscape below, with the fairy chimneys and valleys, looks completely alien from the air.
This is why you book that cave hotel with the terrace, so you can watch the spectacle even if you don't fly yourself.
But here is the critical logistical warning. Balloon rides are highly weather dependent. They get canceled all the time due to high winds or poor visibility.
So the tip is to book your ride for your very first available morning in Cappadocia.
And allocate 2 or 3 days for your stay, just in case you need to reschedule.
And what about the cost? It's not cheap, but it's something you have to budget for.
It's variable, but you should expect to pay between $150 and $300 per person for a reputable company.
Book through your hotel or a trusted agency and make sure they have a good safety record.
While the balloon ride is the star, the ground exploration is equally vital. You have to take time to hike in the valleys.
Places like the Red Valley and the Rose Valley have these incredible trails that take you right past those geological formations and ancient cave churches carved into the rock.
You can also explore specific sites like Passabag or Monk's Valley to see the distinct triple-headed fairy chimneys up close.
And for a completely different kind of historical intensity, you have to explore the underground cities, like Derinkuyu or Kemiklen.
These are incredible subterranean complexes carved deep into the earth, sometimes 8 or 9 levels deep, where thousands of people once lived for months at a time hiding from invaders.
Definitely claustrophobic.
It is, but it's also a fascinating glimpse into this desperate, organized historical necessity. They had ventilation shafts, stables, kitchens, entire cities underground.
Finally, the third act, the turquoise coast. If you have the time, this is your chance to pivot from intense history to pure relaxation and ancient Roman ruins.
You must visit Ephesus. It is stunning because it doesn't just feel like a few broken columns. It feels like a complete, lived-in Roman city.
You can walk the marble streets that still had the markings from chariot wheels.
And the Library of Celsus, which has been partially reconstructed, is one of the most stunning sites in the entire Roman world. It's a perfect visual of that era's devotion to learning and architecture.
And for pure relaxation, the recommendation is the traditional sailing experience, chartering a gullet.
A gullet is a traditional wooden yacht. You can charter one for a day or even a few nights. This is known as a blue cruise. You just sail along the coast, stopping at hidden coves, swimming in impossibly blue water.
That is pure vacation mode, a necessary and perfect contrast to the intensity of Istanbul and the early mornings of Cappadocia.
We've painted a beautiful picture, but we do have to pause to discuss the complexities. As with any vibrant destination that draws heavy tourism, there are specific caveats and warnings that you need to be aware of.
Yes, and I think we need to elevate this section because managing the commercial intensity is a crucial skill here. Let's start with that classic Istanbul experience, the one that preys on your polite nature, the shoeshine scam.
Detail the mechanism for us because it's a setup. It's designed to trick the culturally aware traveler into an obligation.
So a person walking just ahead of you will accidentally drop their shoe brush. You, being a polite person, instinctively reach down, pick it up, and hand it back.
And the person then insists, often very vehemently, on shining your shoes right there as a token of their thanks.
And once the shine is complete, a service you often didn't ask for or need, they demand an exorbitant, inflated fee, sometimes 20 times the normal price.
Arguing that you accepted the service, so you have to pay.
Exactly. The advice here is difficult for polite people. You have to be aware of this specific setup. If a brush drops, you politely ignore it and you just keep walking.
Do not engage with the interaction.
You'll find yourself in an immediate, unwanted negotiation if you do.
Beyond specific scams, you need to understand the intense sales pressure, especially in the bazaars and in places like carpet shops. These are often legitimate businesses, but they use very high-pressure tactics.
The cultural nuance here is profound. They will invite you for tea. And this is genuine Turkish hospitality, steeped in tradition, and it is warm and welcoming.
In the highly touristy areas, it is frequently a prelude to a very long, very committed sales pitch for a rug or a piece of jewelry.
The challenge for you as the learner is to navigate that blurry line between authentic friendliness and commercial intensity.
Our advice is to appreciate the tea, accept it graciously, but be ready and able to firmly say no thank you if you aren't interested in buying.
Do not feel obligated to purchase because you accepted their hospitality. If you're not in the mood to buy, just say, I am only looking today. Thank you.
We should also flag a few monetary issues. Be very cautious about currency exchange.
Stick to official exchange offices or banks. Tourist-heavy restaurants or small shops might offer to exchange money as a favor, but the rates will almost always be terrible.
Always know the current rate before you change money, and calculate the expected return yourself.
Another critical caution, especially in highly touristed restaurants, involves menu pricing, particularly for seafood.
Ah, yes, the weighted pricing scam. Seafood is often priced by weight, per 100 grams. If you're ordering fresh fish, you must explicitly confirm the total weight before they cook it.
And agree on the final total price.
Yes. If you don't, you might find that the average fish they serve you somehow weighs a shocking amount, leading to an astronomical, unexpected bill. It's a common tactic.
And finally, the universal headache of urban travel.
Taxis in Istanbul. Be vigilant.
Never just jump in a cab and assume the meter is on. Always ensure the meter is running and set to the correct fare basis the moment you start your journey.
Better yet, use a fixed fare app. The local option is Bataxi, or Uber also operates effectively in Istanbul.
Having that fixed, agreed-upon price removes all ambiguity and potential for argument at the destination. So what we're saying is, Turkey is overwhelmingly safe and welcoming, but it does demand that you keep your wits about you, especially in those moments where genuine hospitality and intense commerce intersect. We've covered the logistics, the history, the necessary pitfalls. Let's finish by discussing the real vibe of Turkey. What does the country actually feel like once you step away from the specific tourist sites?
For me, the defining characteristic that shapes the entire experience is the incredible, fierce hospitality. People are genuinely welcoming, they're curious about visitors, and intensely proud of their country, its history, and its culture.
This manifests in small ways, like being invited for tea with no expectation of purchase, but also in just general helpfulness. If you look lost, someone will stop to help you, even with a language barrier.
That level of collective, nurturing openness is pervasive and often surprises visitors who might only be expecting the intensity of the bazaars.
It's also a place of beautiful, organized chaos, particularly Istanbul. This is a metropolis of 16 million people, and you feel that raw, immense energy everywhere.
Ancient tradition and hyper-modern life don't clash. They just coexist and blend on the same street corner.
You can't discuss the vibe without mentioning the auditory soundtrack of the city. The melodic Islamic call to prayer, the adhan, which echoes through the city 5 times a day.
For a visitor, this is not a disturbance at all. It is an atmospheric, beautiful, and profoundly grounding soundtrack. When you hear the voices echoing between the minarets across the Bosphorus, it constantly reminds you that you are standing at a unique, pivotal, historical, and religious crossroads.
It really anchors the whole experience.
And we can't forget the unofficial furry mascots of Istanbul.
The cats.
The cats are fascinating because they reflect something truly wonderful about the soul of the city. Istanbul is famously a city of community cared-for cats.
They are everywhere, roaming freely, healthy, and happy. You see little cat houses built on sidewalks, and local residents diligently leave out bowls of food and water for them.
It speaks to a collective, nurturing spirit that extends even to its feline inhabitants, a sense of civic responsibility and gentleness that is often missed in the rush of sightseeing.
So let's synthesize before the final verdict. What are the key pros and cons for you, the learner, considering this deep dive of a trip?
On the pro side, the staggering combination of history, culture, and natural beauty is unparalleled, from the 8,000-year-old history of Istanbul to the lunar landscapes of Cappadocia.
The food is a genuine world-class highlight.
And for the sheer amount of experience and immersion you receive, Turkey is still an incredibly affordable destination.
The cons, it can be intense. The sheer crowds at major sites are real, especially in high season. And in the major cities, you absolutely need to have your wits about you to navigate the scams, the taxi chaos, and the sales pressure.
If you are looking for a simple, passive, kick-back and relax destination where nothing challenges you, this is emphatically not it.
Unless you stick strictly to a coastal resort.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the ultimate question. After unpacking all of this, the chaos, the beauty, the food, the costs, the warnings, is a trip to Turkey worth the logistical and mental effort?
It is an absolute resounding yes, but it comes with a condition, which is what we really need to emphasize for you.
And that condition, derived from all the sources.
It is worth it if you go with an open mind, a robust sense of adventure, and a willingness to be challenged and to get a little lost. The country will sometimes test your patience, but it will welcome you fiercely and reward you infinitely.
I completely agree. The reward for embracing the organized chaos and navigating the complexities is one of the most vibrant, historic, and delicious travel experiences on the planet.
It engages all of your senses simultaneously and will absolutely leave a profound, lasting mark on you.
It is truly more than worth the trip.
So there you have it. We've synthesized the essential knowledge, the blending of hard logistics, the cultural depth of the cuisine and customs, and the necessary caveats for savvy travel.
We've seen that Turkey, and especially Istanbul, operates on this really complex axis. It's ancient, it's modern, it's fierce hospitality, and it's equally fierce commerce.
Building on that idea of the bazaars and the social intensity, here is our final provocative thought for you to consider as you mull over your potential journey.
The real challenge in Turkey doesn't lie in deciphering the ruins or booking the hot air balloons. It lies entirely in navigating that fascinating, delicate line between genuine traditional Turkish warmth and the high commercial intensity of the tourist economy.
Think about this. When does that friendly invitation for a glass of tea truly end and the beginning of a negotiation subtly start? And what does learning to master that subtle, complicated social interaction, which is necessary every day, teach you about trust, cultural boundaries, and bridging two vastly different worlds?
It's a dynamic negotiation that is central to the entire experience.
And mastering it makes you a better traveler and negotiator in life.
Something to think about long after you've finished that last glass of strong, sweet say.
Until next time, keep exploring and keep diving deep into the world's most complicated and rewarding destinations.
Safe travels.